Hey everybody. This is Miss Johnson as always. And it's Thursday. We are doing the assignment Levels of Linear Equations. And I just wanted to point out a few things on this worksheet that are slightly different than we've been seeing, or things that I think are confusing that I want to do with different numbers so you have an example for when you work it by yourself. Okay, the first thing I want to point out on the assignment is the levels 1 question, right? Juanita has $15 in her pocket Saturday morning. She spends $4 every hour. At this point, we've made a table before, we've written equations before, we've defined the variables before. What I want to talk about is this number 4 question. Find when Juanita runs out of money. Out of money is saying find the x when y is 0. Right, spoilers, x is going to be days. Oh, sorry, not days, hours, right? And y is going to be dollars. Nice. So when we're asked when does Juanita run out of money, that means money equals 0 or dollars equals 0, which is our y is 0. And then we need to figure out what our x is when y is 0. And I'm going to let you guys try to figure that one out. Either we can plug in y equals 0 to our equation, or I can make the table and kind of note which hour it changes from positive to negative. Okay, the next ones I want to talk to you about are the levels 3 question. I think it's 3. We'll see. But we've got 2 tables, and we've got some questions for each table. The ones you're... Excuse me. The tables you're working with have different numbers. I was going to show you with my numbers so that we can get an idea and get an example of how things go, and then you can try it by yourself. So for my table 1, I've got these numbers. Find the rate of change, find the starting point, find the equation, and find y when x is 30. Here's how I would do it. The rate of change, I'm going to say I went from 4 to 6, which was plus 2. I went from 9 to 12, which was plus 3. So my rate of change is always the change in y divided by the change in x. I could also write this as 1.5. I prefer 3 halves, but it's kind of whatever. Find the starting point. We've got 2 ways to do this. We've got the table way, and we've got the equation way. Let's do the table way first. If I start at 4 and I go down 2, and then I start at 9 and I go down 3, I'm just basically using the slope but backwards. I'll do the same here, and I'll do the same here. So my starting point was 0, 3, or just 3. All right. If this didn't match up perfectly, what I would do, instead of going down 2 and down 3, I would go down 1 and down 1.5, because this is my number that I go down if I'm only going down by 1 for the x. Find the equation. We've got y equals 1.5x plus 3. I just stole this number and I stole this number and I put it into an equation. Nice. The other question is find y when x is 30. We're just going to rewrite our equation, but instead of writing x, we're going to write 30. Okay, 1.5 times 30 is 45, plus 3 is 48, so our answer is 48. Boom, 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 boom. Love it. All right, let's do the next one. New questions. Define the variables. I'm going to make this one x and this one y. So I'm going to say x is days and y is dollars. Write an equation. This seems like one question, but it's actually a lot of questions wrapped up into one question, right? Because I can't look at this. I don't know the rate looking from this. I have to do some math. And I don't know the starting point looking from this. I need to do some math. I am going to use this example to go over what the slope equation is and when we should use it, and to go over what point slope equation is and when we should use it. When you're doing this problem on your assignment, come to this part of the video, watch me do it, and then try using this method for your assignment. The table method works, but I want practice. I want everybody to practice doing both ways. So for this question, try to use the equation method. Try to use these two equations. I'm going to do it for these ones, and then when you have your own numbers, try doing it with your own numbers. Okay, this is called the slope equation. It is an equation where we find the slope. Kind of boring. Boring name. Not a boring equation. We're going to say this is our point 1, and this is our point 2. It doesn't matter, we could have flipped it, but that's how it is. So this equation says to find the slope, we're finding the difference of the two y's, so the y from the second equation minus the y from the first equation. And then we're dividing it by the difference in the x's. So the x from the second point, I said equation, I meant point. And then the x from the first point. Okay, I'm going to put this into a calculator. 62 minus 47 is negative. Nope. 62 minus 47 is 15. 8 minus 5 is 3. This simplifies to 5. So we know that our slope is 5 from the slope equation. Whenever we're finding an equation, we basically always need to find the slope. Equation for a linear line. Now, we've got a point. We'll just use point 1 again. We've got the slope because we just found it. So now we're going to use point slope form of a linear line to try to find the equation of the line. The way this equation works, let me use a different color. We're plugging in a number for this one. We're plugging in a number for this one. And we're plugging in a number for this one. The y by itself and the x by itself stay there. Because in our final equations, look over here, our final equation always has an x and a y in it, or usually has an x and a y in it with a bunch of numbers. So over here, this green y is going to stay just y, and this green x is going to stay just x, so that when we simplify it, our equation has x's and y's in it. But the y1, the x1, and the m are where we plug in the slope, and we plug in our first point. So I'm going to rewrite y, I'm going to rewrite minus, there we go. Here I'm going to plug in the y coordinate of our first point, which for me was 47 up here on the table, equals, I'm going to plug in my slope, which we figured out was 5. I'm going to write a parenthesis, I'm going to write an x, I'm going to write a minus, and here I'm going to plug in the x coordinate, the x part of our first point, which is 5. So that's how we set up this point slope of form. And now we're just going to simplify by solving everything for y. We're going to distribute the 5, which is 5x minus 25. I'm going to add 47 to both sides, plus 47. 5x was negative 25 plus 47. 22 plus 22. And here's my equation. Fantastic. Y equals 5x plus 22. And now, for number 7, I'll put my work over here for number 7. How much money does he have after 35 days? We know that days is our x. I'm going to rewrite my equation. But instead of x, I'm going to write 35. And that's how we're going to solve for how much money he has after 35 days. So 5 times 35 is 175. Plus 22 is 197. So he has $197 after 35 days with my numbers, right? Your numbers are different for both of these, so don't just copy the work, but we're going to copy the process of that work. So for this one, please use the slope equation to find the slope and use this point slope form to find the equation, just so we can practice that method. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk to you about is my Word document messed up. So it says write the, and then has nothing. It's write the equation, right? We're going to write the equation for both of these graphs, and then we're going to find out some things about them. So the equation, you're going to use the start point, and you're going to use the slope. You're going to use the start point. You're going to use the slope. And then finding out how many songs they listened to after 7 days, or find out how many dimes he had in his pocket after 18 hours. The process is you're going to plug in x equals 7 to the equation that you make, right? To the equation that you make up here. And then over here, copy paste. We're not going to plug in 7. We're going to plug in, you guessed it, 18. Right, so this is how you answer these number 2s for the graph question. You make an equation, and then when you want to find after 7 days, after 18 hours, after x equals something, you just plug in x to that equation. All right, y'all, that is what I've got for this assignment. If you have questions, email me, message me on Schoology, or just join the main classroom meeting this afternoon. Thanks so much. Bye.